good evening. How's everybody doing? Great to all see you there. I'm just looking at the familiar faces coming in. We've been flagging you up. Great to have you back for Series 2, Episode 5 of The Hair Show. The show that we're now kind of saying dedicated to the everyday hairdresser, because that's exactly what this is about. You guys all around the country tuning in. We're going to be bringing you big topics. Now, this one tonight is very special, and I'm tell you why it's very special. I've just hit the record button because we are going to be recording this as a How to Cut It podcast, and that's going to go out next Monday. So we've got a lot to talk about. So first up, before we do anything else, I'm just going to say hello to some of you I've seen there. So hi, Nicola, good to see you. Lucy, great to have you back. Pivot Point UK, lovely to see you. Daryl, hi Daryl. Saffron, hey, the coolest laid-back producer in the world, Dan Thomas, is there. Obviously, Jordana, she's waiting. And Paul, Aristides, good to see you. Cherie, keep it coming. Hi, Elizabeth, nice to see you there. Jez Barnett, he's there. You're all hanging out, feeling the heat today. So I think we're there at the moment. So remember, the key to this, as we start the show, let everybody join in. Let's get people tuning in by loving it, liking it. Bring your comments into the show, because this is, again, really going to be going into big topics tonight. So there's someone else just come in, Charlotte. So remember also, 20 seconds delay. I say it every week just so you're aware that the comments may come in a little bit later as we go through. But yeah, we're going to have a little look. So let me just bring what's coming up. So let's press that button and let's press that one. So coming up on the Hair Show tonight, well, Series 2, Episode 5. Can you believe it? We are marching along. Well, World Hair News, yeah, we've got that from Jordana Cabela. She's been picking out her stories, and there's one there that might bring a little bit of a conversation to the show tonight. Brekkie with Bell, yeah, this is the one you meant to see last week, but you will see it tonight, I promise you. I think I've downloaded the right one. Today's Hair Generation, we can hear you in the background, and A Second Spy. Yeah, we want to talk about today's generation. You know, what's it feel like for them, stylists? Goggles and serving refreshments. Oh, boring. We've all said it's boring, but it's still being talked about. What else can we talk about in the salon? And mental health in hairdressing. So why so many problems? Why are we so having problems? That's what I want to know. Well, there's lots to be talking about in this show. We're going to have loads of stuff. If there are anything that we're missing, you want us to talk about, put it in there. And thank you, Emma Fitzpatrick, for flagging it up last week. She actually got in touch with us and said, look, we need some stuff for us stylists, not just you salon owners. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Remember, this is your show, the Everyday Hairdresser Show, the hottest show that's out there, and our community is here. And as you all know, we have our wonderful hostesses, and they're sat there waiting to come onto the screen. So as I bring them onto the screen, you've got to give us massive loads of love hearts. Okay, so welcome Jordana and Georgia Bell. Hey, you're on the screen. It's always a major relief to see you guys on that screen. So let me turn off that music, because we don't need that going on in the background. Let's get rid of that. So how's things then, ladies? Let's kick off. Jordana, how are you?
Yeah, I've been really, really good, actually. Yeah, things are picking up in the salon a little bit, and the sun made me pretty happy today, so I'm all good.
Yeah, good. And George?
Yeah, things are good, mate. Really busy. Still the same. Yeah, but it's all good.
Like small chat, isn't it?
It's all good. Well, look, we have got some things that we're going to talk about, and it's going to come from the World Hair News with Jordana. And, you know, I think what's really important, I think I want to get this over tonight, ladies, is that, look, the whole thing about this show, it is a talk show, and we've kind of found it's evolved lovely into that. It's a place where we all come together each week to talk, and the whole thing about this is that we have discussions that sometimes we agree with, we maybe not always agree with, and I want you guys to also be on board with that. So your opinions as we talk about them, do you agree with us, do you not? Doesn't matter, we don't get offended. But the one thing I always say is we never get personal with any of this, and that goes throughout the show. So yeah, let's get into this. So we're going to just kick off into this, Jordana, shall we? Should we just get straight into World Hair News? So here we go. World Hair News with Jordana Cabela.
welcome back to the world of hair news. Now, hair topic number 1 is all about Hayley, also known as the resilient hairdresser, who has starred on the show before. Now, she is offering courses and workshops for you and your salon team, focusing on managing your moods, communicating with each other, and building resilience. Now, this workshop is focused ultimately on learning to communicate effectively to make your working life easier in the salon. You will learn real strategies for dealing with difficult clients, have more understanding of why people can sometimes be tricky, which will eventually make us a little bit less stressed. So for more information and how to book Hayley, just visit www.resilienthairdresser.co.uk. She's also got a brilliant PDF downloadable burnout booklet, which I would recommend. It's really good if you're a stylist, salon owner, freelance, what have you. Download it, it's free. Head over to her website. And for news topic number 2, we are already beginning to see white spaces creeping into appointment books as the pent-up demand for post-lockdown hairdressing is being satisfied. What are we also seeing is that many of the clients we were expecting to see return are choosing not to. This could be for many reasons. Some have found alternative solutions for their hairdressing needs, but some have chosen not to return because they still feel unsafe, nervous, or apprehensive, or perhaps they've just gone to their local hairdresser and they're not travelling further, closer to their work address to see you. Many of us can empathise with those feelings, even though we need them to return to our businesses. But Ken West from 365, who's a salon business consultant, is now offering a Ken's Clinic drop-in, whereby you can email him and start conversations and take it from there. So if you wanted to get some of Ken's advice, you can head over to kenw@365hair.com. Casey Coleman, hair topic number 3, who is the current visionary of the year in terms of creative head, has also launched a new mental health awareness day initiative following the lessons he's learned this year on mental and physical health. He states that if lockdown has taught us anything, it's that we need to give more time for self-care. Here's what Casey has to say.
Hi everyone, my name is Casey and I'm the founder of Chair Salons in Cardiff, and I've just been asked to do this little video for you to explain something called a mental health day. So at Chair Salons this week we will be closing for 2 days on Tuesday and on Thursday for a mental health day for our team, and that's where we completely shut down, nobody works, everybody gets the 2 same days off. Just to re-energise, refocus and recoup and make sure we are fighting fit and ready to deliver an exceptional service at the salon. Now, I'm very well aware that we also have the weekend off, or we get a day or 2 off a week anyway, but as hairdressers sometimes we can overthink as well as overwork ourselves. So offering my team as well as myself a mental health day I think is super important for self-care, especially during such an incredibly difficult time as COVID-19 has taught us that, we really need to spend a bit more time on ourselves as well as with other people. So that's what a mental health day is for us. I hope this video might inspire you to do the same thing and take care of yourselves. Cheers.
And for news topic number 4, the Fellowship launches a competition of pictures from lockdown creative work. So if there's any beautiful work that you've done, feel free to enter. It can be entered so long as it's not from a professional photo shoot. And to enter either category, hairdressers just need to tag @FellowshipHair on Instagram and also use the relevant hashtags, which is #FellowshipLockdownLook or #FellowshipSnapshot20. The closing date for entry is Friday, 9th of October at 5 p.m. So just over a month left to enter, guys. So get the entries in. And that's all from me today for the World of Hair News.
So, right, here we are. We're gonna go full on into this straight away. The one big story that you picked out, and it's caught our attention, between the team and is the Casey, mental health. Now, before I hand it over to you, ladies, and I'm going to come to you in a second, Jordana, there's a lot of agreement here. So Cherie has just said amazing. Faye Smith, I need him on my show. I will be contacting you. We've got Lucy. She says lovely idea. Kim, she's saying true. Let Lou, he's saying great idea. Right, what's Saffron got to say? I did for my team. We all had a nice bank holidays. We all deserved. They all worked so hard since got back. Need some downtime. George, now I know you've got a slightly different opinion on this. All right.
I knew for a second that you would kick this off with me. I've got a totally different opinion. I really respect Casey, by the way, and I really respect what he's doing. But nah, we've been shut for 3 months. Like, we have had 3 months of being shut. I would never, ever, ever do a mental health day off after this amount of time. So I would always look at what we're doing, taking it into consideration, and I just don't feel like I feel if my staff needed a day off, then yes, of course I will always give them a day off, and I would always look after their mental health, but I would not promote a mental health day off. No way.
Jordana.
Not for me.
I think it's a great initiative. I think from a stylist's point of view, that small gesture, albeit it is, I see what you're saying when you're comparing it to a day off. I think that small gesture goes so far, because technically you're all entitled to your 2 days off, but the fact that this is a paid day off, I think it's a small gesture that goes quite far and cultivates a good culture between each other to sort of look out for each other. And I do think, lockdown life has made us all think, do I want to work this hard? Do I want to, am I scared of burnout? Do I want to make sure I check in with myself more? And I think these are all questions that we've been asking. So whether or not we do that as often or not, I don't know, but I just think maybe once a year it's quite nice to either give back, do a workshop day where you just in a circle.
I totally agree with that, babe, but if we are taking a couple of days off, let's do a workshop, let's do something that's productive for our team. We have just spent 4 months off doing nothing. I was going to say something else then. Doing nothing. Let's not give that mental day off. Let's do something productive together. Let's do something creative together.
Yes.
Let's make something happen as a team.
But
it's not just give a mental health day off.
But arguably, having had all that time off and then going straight back in full throttle, I think it's that contrast that means we kind of might need to ease our way back in by having those random days where we can check in on ourselves. And do you know what? It happens in the corporate world, because I live with 2 other people whose companies actually do it. And, they only started it last year. One of them's an accountancy firm, and Mental Health Day, because people are so different, is not about workshops. It's 1 day a year you can take whenever you're feeling mentally drained.
I'm just going to bring in, I'm going to come back to you, George. I'm going to hang 1 second. Lee has gone with you here. I'm with Georgia. Yes, mental health needs to be considered very much. So personally, let me just bring that up again. So personally, not too much about this, but 2 midweek days off plus weekend, no. We're trying to keep salons open at the moment. Now, there's a point there, isn't there, George? We need to keep salons open at the moment, don't we? Because are we in there's a chance, localised lockdowns could happen. Surely money in the bank is going to be really important at the moment. What comes first?
You know, Don, me and you spoke about this earlier, right? There is a difference between North and South divide, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the way that London sees things, but people see it in a broader way. I just don't agree. I do not agree with being shut for 4 months and then doing a mental health day. I just don't get it. If you want it.
My wife, I told you, George, my wife would come in with this tonight, didn't I? Her first comment, Louise Lahane, team building days, ? I knew she would say that. it was spoke about. Now, I'm not saying that this is my opinion, George, and I think, but is sometimes, Jordan, are we promoting things because we're looking for airtime on social media, and this can become a little bit, it gives great coverage, and, things can get a lot of interest in there. It has been said that sometimes, I'm not saying Casey's video is this, but there are things that come up in social media and it becomes the next buzzword. And I just worry, is mental health becoming the next buzzword?
We can't shy away from the facts and the figures, and the facts and the figures are that people suffer from mental health nowadays more so than ever, / we're just talking about it more, or we are being diagnosed more. I don't know, but either way, we see it in our team, we see it in our clients, and we see it in our surrounding family and social circles. So it's something we can't ignore. If this is an initiative that maybe will promote more communication and time for yourself, then let's do it. But I do agree with Georgia. Some people might take I can't find the word that's not a swear word, but some people might take the piss. So
there's a bleep for my podcast now. Saffron,
I'm looking for somebody to recommend this. I'm not the person for it because I am a workaholic. Do you know what I mean? So I totally understand and I get where people are coming from, but I'm probably not the best person to speak to about this because I don't agree with it. I think it's bollocks. Sorry.
Beep. Well, look, it's great to have opinions, and there's no right or wrong. It's all about just challenging new ideas, and I admire Casey for being innovative if that's what he sees it to be. And it's Nicola here, somebody, look, I've suffered with mental health quite badly about 10 years ago. I still worked and hid it from my clients. I had cognitive behavioural therapy for panic attacks and anxiety. Going to the salon to work was a massive help. It gave me focus, and I learned to cope with it. Is this sync? What is the difference between mental health and actually people that are suffering anxiety? This is what I'm a bit concerned by. It seems very easy now to say, I've got mental health, I'm burnt out. What's the difference here, Jordana? I know people very close to me that suffer real anxiety, and it's not, they don't shout about it on social. A lot of time, people with anxiety will keep it very quiet.
Definitely, and it's expressed in different ways. But regardless of whether it's anxiety born out of your home life or your work life, regardless of that, the conversation of looking after each other, because we spend more time with our team than we do with our family. So we have to make sure that we're on the same page, we're looking out for each other. And the only way to do that is to invest more time in communicating with each other. I don't necessarily agree with having days off, but I've booked Hayley from the Resilient Hairdresser to do a big workshop day where we just literally talk about the different types of personalities, conflict management, how to read on someone's, non-verbal communication if someone's upset at work. It's all that kind of stuff. And I think that's really important because I've been in a really bad place at work before where I just feel like I can't talk to anyone, but it's so powerful to know how to communicate in different ways. Yeah, look, regardless of whether you're suffering at home or at work, I think it's good to have.
Yeah, no, and I agree. Obviously, I say these things, and obviously, there's a lot of people that suffer with mental health, and there's a lot of people that I believe in mental health. I am not about tearing anyone's mental health down, but I'm just so straight talking.
But that's why we love you on the show, George, and that's why it's such a beautiful balance, and I love it for that reason.
But I'm not. When I straight talk, Dom, and I know I say these things, I'm not taking away from anyone's feelings. These are your feelings. This is your mental health, and I get it. Right. It's just not
I'm going to just stop you. There are so many comments coming in. This is a subject that's obviously big right now. Mental health is big, and it keeps coming up, and we've been talking about it for a lot. But I just want to know, all you watching in, do you agree with Casey? Yes or no? All right. Yes, you agree with Casey's days off, or no? Put them in the comments. That's going to be a great way to just see where you're all sat on this. And look, there's no right, and nobody's going to judge you for this. honestly, I love the opinions. Mrs. Lahane has put her opinions in there. Oh, my God, I'm trying to keep up with these comments. You lot slow down.
I'm like trying to watch the comments as well, like while you're talking. I'm like, who agrees?
Honestly, there's right now. I'm going to tackle, and I am going to move it on in a minute to our next conversation a little bit, which is today's hair generation, because it links in, and I think it links in because I'm going to put this out there, and George actually mentioned this to me. Have we got a lot of mental health problems because we got too many drugs and alcohol, not just in our society but in the industry? Jordana.
You've really caught me off guard.
Jordana's the wrong person to ask, Dom.
No, because look, you're having to deal with. Look, I think it's fair to say, smoking weed, it creates huge amount of anxiety. I've seen it in people that I know and love, and it creates problems. Alcohol, and I know Adam Reed has been very open about his battles with alcohol. Noel Colgan, he wants to do a show, his interview with me, alcohol, drugs, a suicide attempt. There seems to be a common link. Are we trying to mask out so much of our own insecurities by throwing ourselves into drugs? And hairdressing is a party industry, George.
I would have to say absolutely that definitely contributes towards it. I think it's very easy in the hairdressing industry to get wrapped up in that. And obviously I'm still quite young in the industry, so I can approach it from like a fresh pair of eyes. But what I don't have is those years of experience to say how bad it is, because at the moment I'm still socialising and going out and going wild on the weekends and drinking Prosecco at whatever time. Do you know what I mean? So
there's a moderation to it, yeah. But I do get a little bit incensed when people are telling me they've got anxiety pattern, but are they actually aiding and fueling this by throwing themselves in there? George?
Listen, I've got a lot of experience on Jordana, so it's probably the wrong thing to say, but yeah, I think there's a lot of people out there that are very experienced, that are very creative, and I think that we have a battle all the time with substance abuse or like work. Like I'm addicted to work now, so like when I was in my 20s I might have been addicted to partying, but now I'm addicted to work, and I think there's a lot of people out there like that, and I don't think it's discussed enough. I think that there's so many people that actually they've got so many battles with things, and I think it does need discussing, because I think it's quite dangerous.
Yeah, right. Look, come on. I want to just pick in some comments here because, as I say, it's your show, the Everyday Hairdressers Show. Where do I start? You lot are wonderful. Honestly, I love your community. Let me go in.
Like, Dom, if you catch me in a beaver, mate, I'm dangerous. You know what I mean? Like, if you come and interview me in a beaver,
I've seen some of your
dangerous.
photos in Ibiza, so
exactly.
Yeah, I reckon you're absolutely right. Lee, trust me, I don't normally talk about it, but when you can't even hold a pair of scissors through panic attack or leave staff room, I know this firsthand. But hard as it is a job to get on. Thank you for Lee, that's brilliant. Leah Shaw, how you doing, Lee? Mental health is becoming used as an excuse because people know that they can use it. It's being thrown around as a weapon and undermining serious sufferers.
I would agree with that.
I would agree with that.
Great. Kim Mullen, disagree. It's a massive pathway. Nicola, what's Nicola got to say? I learned through my counsellor that a trigger had set off my issue, and it's in my family. Yeah. I asked yes or no. Nicola's no, don't agree with Casey. Lynn, no. Paul has said, George, no, apologies. Lee has said no. Lee, no, totally disagree. No. What we
it's
got
all
here?
Good. This is all held for discussion. And by the way, I have to say on the hair show this evening, when Casey said that it was going to put this out, I actually phoned Casey and I said that I'm going to say that I disagree with you, and I don't want to be a bitch.
Yeah.
And I think it's important because I don't want to be that person that puts an entrepreneurial point out that's really, really interesting, and then somebody say, "Oh no, it's shit." I'm not saying that. I just don't agree with it.
Right, so we've got some yeses here as well. So Cherie, she thinks yes, she agrees with it. Lucy, I feel yes. Paul, this is part of a debate. I'm sitting on the fence. Can't see benefits for both. I can see benefits from both sides. Paul, you are sitting on the fence.
I need to jump in here. Sorry. So my mum has never ever had a drop of alcohol because her father died as an alcoholic. So she was completely scarred from it for life. So she might go to a wedding and literally just will tend to drink bubbles, but just won't have it. Her whole hairdressing career, she pretended that she was drinking, but actually all she ever had was Coca-Cola. And she suffered from burnout. She suffered from anxiety. And it's really important today, I think, to also talk about addiction in terms of work, addiction to reassurance, addiction to status, addiction to I want to please everyone. It's not just about addicted to drugs and addicted to socializing or alcohol. You can have a really bad addiction to that reassurance of getting that like on Instagram, the reassurance of getting your picture reposted. And there's a really good podcast out at the moment that talks about that releasing dopamine, and dopamine is that same hormone that gets released when you have a bar of chocolate or when you're about to be intimate. It's the same hormone, and that's really dangerous. And they're saying that, like, even just the sound of the text, you know, when your phone beeps and you get that text, apparently that's now being associated with higher dopamine levels. So social media and reassurance and work-life balance and being the best at what and being on form, even in the salon, and chatting and being the joker, that's the same level of addiction as, you know, and that can be just as damaging as being addicted to drugs.
I completely agree with you in that, Jordana. 100%.
Well,
have we lost Dom, or is he still with us?
No, I'm just looking at these comments. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I think it's a subject that needs talking about. This is everyday stuff, you know. This is not glossing over things. This is the reality of here. So I'm just trying to pick out the comments. There's so many things going on here. What we got? So I
don't think we'll ever please anyone, will we?
But it's about talking. So yeah, look.
Yeah, it's a healthy discussion.
We're gonna leave it at this moment, right? Because we're gonna move things on a little bit, and we can come back. If you want to come back to this, is great. I'm keeping my eye down here on the comments. As you see smiles come on my face, there are things that come in sometimes which shock me. But we're gonna go into our piece that we should have had last week. I downloaded the wrong video, so you saw an old one. My apologies. So this week you are going to see the Brekkie Wabelle you should have seen last week. So if you're all ready for a bit of porn, this is your bit. All right, we love a bit of porn. Come on.
Welcome to this week's Brekkie with Belle. Remember, whatever you send remains completely confidential and you remain absolutely anonymous. Well, let me tell you, I've had some juicy stories this week. So the first story is, what do you do if your client shows you a homemade porno? And I'm not even talking like beige kind of stuff. I'm talking nasty stuff. What? I would hope that firstly the salon was really quiet and she was your last client. And I'm not really sure what to do, because actually when you see that kind of stuff, you can't really unsee it, can you? If you find it terribly inappropriate, depending on what you saw, I would ask her politely to never show you that kind of stuff again. So, second story, here is a dilemma. Imagine working really, really hard on somebody's hair all day. So you'd agreed to do a balayage. It then wasn't light enough, so then you stood and did a full head foils, and that client goes out to pay and does a runner. But then, imagine this. The client then phones you up to ask you what you're going to do about making it lighter. Now, I can't believe the cheek of some people. I would obviously, well, you still have to be professional, but I would say until you come and you square your bill up with us, I am not prepared to do anything else to your hair to make it lighter. I can't believe the cheek of some people, honestly. That's blown me away. So the next one is about losing clients due to a price increase. Now listen, I know that in the industry that we're in, I always think, you know, your relationship with your clients is often more personal than any other industry, to be honest, and it is a kick in the teeth when we do lose clients. Now, whenever your salon does do a price increase, on average they say you're going to lose 10% of your clients. Now, if you really do value that customer and it's a little bit too much to lose them, I would get in touch and I would offer them maybe a little bit of a discount code. Or another thing I was thinking of, you know, sometimes paying a big bill in one go can be quite difficult. So perhaps maybe start a membership whereby your clients can put a little bit of money away every week until they've got enough to get their hair done. Because if they value you, they will continue to come and see you. So the next one is going out, getting really drunk, and accidentally snogging my client. And now he keeps ringing the salon and asking to take me on a date. Now, you know, due to current circumstances, I still recommend keeping 2 meters apart, but hey, things happen. I would politely, if you don't want to go out on a date with him, I would politely give him a ring and just say, you know, you're really drunk, or perhaps go on that date and get really drunk again and see what happens. So, interesting one. What do you do if on consultation you agree with a client, they've got medium brown hair, that you're going to do a natural balayage with caramel foil placement and lighter brown pieces, and actually 2 days later when they come in for their appointment, they come in with dark brown hair because they've stuck a box dye on it. That is a tough one. Firstly, it would be a completely different quote. You'd have to redo the consultation because obviously the results are not going to be the same, and I would definitely be taking another strand test, and I would definitely be making that client sign a disclaimer because they've done something at home between consultation and appointment.
I'll tell you what, George, they don't make birds like you in Rotherham, do they? You
what can I say? Stay away
proper.
from those client pornos. What can I say?
I mean, we started off there, and you know, I've been just seeing your little. Come on, Emily, what's this? Or you send nudes to a client by mistake. Is there something you need to tell us just here? Hey, and you said about the snogging, and this is really interesting. Have you actually dated a client? You know, has that maybe
never? Do you know what? I've never dated a client, but well, I did once, but never tapped the payroll. That's all I can say. Like, it's not a good thing to do.
Jordana, you put your hand up there. Does that mean have you dated a client?
Yes.
Dated? Did it turn into a relationship?
It didn't. I don't see him anymore, bless his heart.
Right, there's another question for you lot. That's a bit more, have you dated a client? Yes or no, all right? So I'd be really interested to hear that. Emma's just come in, just going back. She said, great advice about price increases, George.
Oh, somebody's just said, I'm so sorry, Dom. Somebody just said I married my client, and I think that's amazing.
There you go. Natalie, I married my client. Look, I knew you'd all comment.
The only client that I would date on here is Lee B, because he's always there. Like, that kid sends me flowers, he sends me cards, I love him to pieces. Like,
look, there's a lot of dating going on here.
His money now, George.
Even though he's gay.
Yeah. Becky, Nicola's dated a client. Lee, not cool. What's this? Not quite, but I banned myself from Snapchat. I guess you're going back to the nude photo. Sue, yes, you've dated a client. Lucy, I dated a client for 3 months. He was leaving for Australia, so I figured nothing to lose. Hey, there you go. Emma, yep. And Natalie, God, the story gets even nicer. We now have a beautiful baby boy. There.
Who needs Hinge when you're a hairdresser?
Cherie, you're still going on this? No. Letlu is married. A client better or marry business partner?
I married one of my stylists, David Barnett.
I've seen Dave here. Where's Dave? I've seen there he go. How you doing, Dave? I married one of my stylists. So yeah, look, great stuff there, George. I'm sure you're happy that I actually pressed the right one for the Brekkie Rebel, which was a big relief. So what we're going to do, we're going to move into another topic again, and this came up because of the How to Cut It hairdressing community, and hello to all the community that are watching in tonight. And we asked everybody about conversations, and one they wanted to talk about was today's hairdressing generation, and I think this sort of leads us on a little bit. So let's just put in that transition as we get ready for today's hairdressing generation. Today's hairdressing generation. Okay, so I think where I want to go with this as well, again, because Emma, hiya Emma, she's in there, she's still with my boss, and 9 years later, you're still going there. But Emma said, like I said at the start of the show, want to talk about stylists. And the first thing that I want to talk about on today's generation is something that you picked up, Jordana, with Jack Howard's podcast with Lacey. Yeah, and I think they were talking about work-life balance for hairdressers now.
Yes.
What are we referring to? Because I have this conversation a lot about work-life balance, what it kind of means. What's your take on this work-life balance?
Well, I think that there is, at the moment, there's the rise of the individual, which is what we spoke about last week, where there's lots of sort of stylists that are thinking to go freelance just because they're looking to manage their time a bit better. It's not about working necessarily harder that the younger generation are all about. It's about working smarter. So I think a lot of them are seeing that opportunity and, renting chairs from places like Hunter Collective and managing their diary, a bit like Harriet Stokes does now, where she actually has a bit more time for her family and has a bit more time and flexibility. You have to do the grafting first to get there, but I don't see a problem in becoming self-employed and managing your time, because you deserve that. If you can make it work for yourself, why not? That is where the industry is going. But what we have to appreciate is we're all different, and there are workaholics like me or George who do want to work 6 days a week and want to be surrounded by creativity. But there's other people who are hairdressers that don't want to give it their life, and that's okay too. So that's what the main topic was.
George,
what's your take on it?
I can't really comment on this because I'm a workaholic, and I'm probably, whatever I say is probably going to be quite unhealthy, because I say
can't you see that there's room for both of us?
Yeah, no, my lot are self-employed, but everything I do is just all the work I do is my life. Do you know what I mean? So I can't really I don't know. I'm quite old school in what I say, and I just I think nah.
Here's something then, right? And this is really for you stylists. Are you right to be as passionate as your salon owner? Because we expect salon owners, we're so passionate, aren't we? And should your stylist be as passionate as you about the business, Jordana?
I don't think any stylist would ever be as passionate as me about it. But when I look at let's look at area for a second. So Jordana, you're in the centre of London, massive salon. I am in the centre of Rotherham. There is nothing around me, and to have created what we've created through social media and through hard work, I feel really special about this, but I don't expect any of my stylists to feel the same way as I do. But I would sit and agree that the way I feel about things is not necessarily healthy, because I work too hard.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
We don't want to promote the wrong type of culture, but yeah. I think it's great that there are rising stars in the industry like Harriet Stokes, who has now got a better work-life balance, and you can just see that. And So having a Saturday off, it should not be as taboo as it used to be, because people did not have the flexibility to work from home. Even before COVID, people had Fridays or Thursdays working from home. And I noticed my Saturdays were not as busy as some of my Fridays. So it should be something that we should talk about, like work-life balance. And yeah, we should give like Saturdays off if we can or whatever. But we should find a way to work smarter, not necessarily always harder. Do you know what I mean?
You know, my team literally, and I'm very, very fortunate at this, my team literally go through my books, because I never ever book a day off. I never do. The last time I had a day off was the Lake District or whatever. My team literally go through my books and they see when I've got an hour and they block it out, and they see when I've got a day and they go and book a spa day for me, because they know that I'm very, very unhealthy with the way that I work.
Yeah, I had a fantastic podcast. My very first podcast interview I'd done, and that was with Tom Connell. And Tom, and I used it a lot when I do talks at various events, and he talks about being obsessed. He openly admits that he is obsessed about everything he does about the hair industry. And so many of my guests that I interview all say the same. They are absolutely obsessed. So do you need that obsession? Do stylists need that obsession to really get to where they want to get? And by that, ladies, and you guys watching in, does that mean wealth? Does it mean the salons? Why are we obsessed? What's it? Are you obsessed, Jordana?
I'm obsessed, but the last year I have completely turned my entire work life around by eliminating one day of being on the floor. And so that one day is now my admin day, where I just catch up on absolutely everything. I talk to my team, I do all my meetings, and I just have that one day to look at my week ahead. And it has honestly changed the way I'm in the salon. I'm not miserable anymore. My team like me more. My clients have benefited. And yes, I have taken myself away from the salon for that one day, meaning I take less money. But I do think that in turn, that's actually made me a better stylist. It's given me a bit of time to catch up on some online education if I need to. And it just gives me a bit of breathing space. And so I do think it's maybe better at my job. I'm
going to throw it at you again, Jordan. I'm going to come to you on it as well, George. But should your staff be obsessed?
It depends where they want to be. If they want to do their work and go home and, you know, be obsessed with the dogs or the kids, then no. But if they want to get to a level where they're recognised in the industry and they're making noises and they're getting awards, then yes, for about 10 years you need to be obsessed.
How obsessed are you, George?
I'm very obsessed, but I don't expect my staff to be obsessed. Like, they're self-employed, you know. And, you know, I've done competitions. I did a status the other day, actually, I was actually on an art team with Tom Connell, and I did a model, and I didn't actually do the cut, and I didn't do the colour, but I did a wrap dry, because I've been at Colour World all weekend, and it just wasn't good enough. And, you know, Tom really ripped into me, but rightly so. And I think there needs to be like an old school form of hairdressing that is like, you know what, you ain't putting it to standard. You need to step up. You need to make your game better. But then again, we are also living in a world where actually, how many times can we say that? You know.
Okay. Well, let me bring in some comments, because there's some great comments coming in, and I'm going to ask you all. You know, are you obsessed with hair? All right. Yes, you are. No, you're not. So Lee, just going back there, probably a little while you will put these in. Hair is my life. 12 hours plus a day, 6 days a week, non-stop. That keeps your mind ticking, I guess. In Lee, Saffron, yes. Kim, my work life and still love it after 35 years, but I'm freelance and self-employed. See what I'm getting? Where are the stylists here? All right, I want stylists coming in on this a little bit, because I've got lots of salon owners. Becky, completely agree with George. Hair is my life. When I'm off work on a Monday, I'm excited to get back. How wicked's that? This is so good to hear. Cherie, I'm obsessed with work, but now at 42, I can see the desire to work smarter, not harder. I'm still just as passionate as ever. That's a good one to come back to. Lee, I wish. Lynn, I have the salon and work on the shop floor 3 days a week. I deliver apprenticeships 1 day a week and work for VTC doing EPAs. I love the variety of life I've chosen within the industry. This is so good, guys. You don't mind me keep picking these up, do you? I think it's just good to see your comments come in. I've just gone self-employed, and all I want is to build up. Love the job.
And do you know what? Can I just say something, Dom? Like, being a salon owner, like I have a kid that works on reception for me. His name's Caleb, and he's absolutely amazing. And like the other day, I said to him, like, me and him will book a day off on the 6th of like October, and we're going to go to a spa. But the actual amount of work I expect from that kid is so. I think hairdressing is such a tough industry, and I think the amount of work that actually a salon owner or a hairdresser demands from people is so much more than somebody working a 9 to 5.
Yeah,
I think it's a hard job.
Yeah, Rosalind, unfortunately I was more passionate than my boss, so I left and started working for myself. I think that's a great comment there, Jordana. Rosalind, there are many people that go to work a salon, they have real passion, but they've maybe got a burnt out salon owner, and you know, that's something you can experience. So it's really important, isn't it?
And I do think it's really important to note that just the people that are obsessed do not have a higher status than the people that aren't. That's just completely down to different personality. And obsession, again, comes from that addictive trait of like being like, yes, I want more and blah, blah, blah. That's not necessarily built into everyone, and that doesn't give you a higher status. It just means we need both to keep the world going round. And luckily we do. We have that, and we've got a good mix of that. And I think early on in my career, I realised, I was like, why is no one else like this? Like, why is no one else like absolutely obsessed? And I realised, actually, if everyone was like that, then there wouldn't be people that come in to do the 9 to 5 job or the 10 to 7s or the 11 to 8s and go home and not think about it, you know? And when I train our assistants, I always see the difference between someone who is obsessed and someone who's not. And I've now learned to appreciate that we need both. So
yeah, because you've got all kinds of roles, and if you have everybody super passionate, then that may create a negative sort of vibe in the salon.
Sometimes you need those days off to stay obsessed. I think
you can't have a room of superstars because you'll end up with nothing in your business. So you need cash cows, you need superstars, you need people that are just that happy, just ticking over. Like, you need a mix of people to make everything work.
Yeah,
Carolina Saunders has said work-life balance is so important. Since I opened, I've given my team Christmas week off and bank holiday weekends, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, Diane, let me just pick in that as we've got Diane as well. I feel our time off is important to have family time. Hard to switch off from hard work and money aspect, but I feel there has to be a balance for my family as well. You cannot, family is always the most important of all of this, and I think that really comes down. Saffron, my team are as passionate as me. That's why I gave them the bank holiday weekend off. As Georgia Bell Hare says, your vibe attracts your tribe. I think that's so right, isn't it? And it's great. So, actually, I'd love to know, I think, what kind of audience we've got. Are you a salon owner, or are you a stylist, or are you self-employed? So, again, put that in the comment. I'd love to know. Eileen, how you doing, Eileen? Great to see you. I'm obsessed with the desire of achieving the hairdressing experience I dream of. What are we dreaming of then, Eileen? What is it that you're dreaming of? What were you dreaming of, George, when you started out in hairdressing?
No, I just really wanted to do really great hair, but then the more I've got involved, the more I realised what my, this is exactly the reason for the name change, the rebrand. Like, I think sometimes we just want to do really great hair and we don't realise what we're doing and how we're going about it, and then it takes a few years for us to kind of settle in and see what we're doing to then really realise the brand that we're trying to create. I don't think if I'd have not gone to London, I don't feel like I'd have known what kind of brand I was trying to create. And I am trying to create a brand, and I have got a very clear vision of what I want to do now.
Yeah. What about you, Jordana? What was because you didn't naturally come straight into hairdressing, either you come from a powerhouse in the industry, but what's your goals and ambitions? What did you feel as a stylist?
I approached it from a bit of a different angle because I came in when we had a store in Selfridges. So I was helping manage that, and there was about 60 of us, and we were working ourselves to the bone. It was a factory. And I very quickly saw that this wasn't the way of life that anyone could sustain. So one of my biggest dreams was to work, how to work smarter and not harder, because we were putting the hours in, we were putting everything in, but we were still kind of getting the same results. So my main mission for the last 7 years has been about how to change and restructure the business to keep it into date with modern society, but also to allow for a bit of that flexibility and charge more and all those little things. So it was about creating an environment where it is a bit more like 5-star service, but in jeans, because it was too robotic. We were all wearing black, and we were all like standing like the way Selfridges robotics people stand, and it wasn't aligned. So mine was about actually creating more of a village salon, but a village salon where you work smarter.
Nice. And I'm just going to bring in some comments here. We'll just talk around this because I've got to bring them in because they're great to see. Hi, Ryan. I work 6 days a week, and on my only day off, Sunday, I'm constantly on Instagram watching live streams or doing online education. I'm employed as a full-time stylist. Great to hear that, Ryan. Well done you. But David, great to hear. Be obsessed or be average. Hey, there you go. Perfect, David. Ross, what's Ross coming with? Let's just bring that one. Yes, my ex broke up with me 2 days before I opened my studio and told my work was a problem. He was actually jealous, and my work was his problem. That's interesting. Justin, hey Justin, good to see you here. I'm a level 3, so good. We've got some stylists now coming in. This is really good. I'm a level 3 trainee stylist and can't get enough of my job. And I know that, Justin, you're really passionate. I'm UK Digital Ambassador for Schwarzkopf and away to be educator for Scotland. So I'll bring that back up again for a huge extensions company. And I know you've done a great blog for us on how to cut it. Go and check that out. Charlotte, great kid is coming in. Hair is my life, but since lockdown, I can see having a bit more time to myself and my family has made my life better. It's almost going back to this whole kind of point that we're talking about at the start, you know, this little bit of time out during lockdown. You don't mind, so what have we got here? Right, Paul, how you doing, Paul? Great to see you here. I would rather put my family first. You know, that's fair comment.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. Like, I think that there's people that have been in the industry for a long time, and I think there's people that are hungry for things. And do you know what? I really don't think there's anything wrong with anyone saying that they'd rather put the family first, because this shit's hard. I think our job is harder than a lot of like 9-to-5 jobs.
It is a hard job, isn't it? I think the reason we have to get engaged in this industry, I say it regularly, and I say it time and time again, it's a word. You know, it's not passionate, it's getting engaged. And I got that from Alan Austin, who I'm such a fan of Alan Austin. I think he speaks so much great words, and he always says you've got to get engaged. And it happens to us all. There's times where you just feel burnout with the hair industry. You're just getting a little bit bored, and it happens.
Well, we are so involved. Like, don't get our job. We are so involved in everything that we do, whether it's the colour, the cut, the style, involved in people's lives. We are so involved, and do you know what? I don't blame people that turn around and say, I think about my family. Because it's a demanding job.
Yeah. So we've got a mix here of people. Again, I'm just going to flag it up. I know I'm a little bit behind on the delay. Self-employed salon owner, that's Nicola. Leona. What's Jess come in and said? I accept not everyone is as obsessed, but will never truly understand. Okay, that's a good comment. Ryan, employed. Lee, I'm the governor, the big gay daddy boss. Lots of laughter. Lee, I tell you, if I'm lining up somebody who's going to sit out as a host for one, you're coming in, my man. I tell you, you're going to be part of this show at one point. I really am. I think you'll be.
I love him. Like, he sent me the most beautiful bunch of flowers the other week at the salon.
He's fantastic. Always here every week, and as so many. Again, just looking down. Lockdown was the first time I stopped working in 17 years. This is Ross. I made me realise the 4 things that are important to me: family, friends, health, and time. All things I put behind work. It was always my priority. I'm going to keep coming back to those, but time's ticking along. We've got about 5-10 more minutes, so I just want to touch upon a subject that I know you all love talking about. Yeah, that second spike. Honestly, we're bored of it. We're all bored of it. But I just want to touch it before we finish off the show. So, the second spike. What's your thoughts on that? Let's head into it. Hang on, you just wait. Right, we're not going to leave it on low, but just a very quick one. And the only reason I'm asking this conversation is because we are all sick to death, Jordana, aren't we, of talking about Corona, COVID-19. How bored are you of this subject?
I'm going to ban the word from the salon because it is all we ever talk about, and it's become habit, and even I bring it up. Now I just need to actually start writing down like topics of conversations because it just gets so consuming and boring. But I don't think we're going to have a second lockdown because it's crippling for the economy. No. I don't agree with the stay in groups of 6, but I'll do it anyway. I don't agree with the goggles. Are we going to have to wear armbands to work and get a rubber dinghy out? I don't know.
If you do, can you please post a picture of that on your grid? That would be wonderful to see. I'd like that. George, what do you reckon? Are we going to see a second spike?
I'm not going to say too much because I'll get in trouble. But
not like you.
No, like if we shut down again, there is not going to be an economy left. Like, so no, I don't think so.
Okay, right. So you don't think we're going to have a shutdown? Let's fingers crossed. What about localised shutdowns? I mean, I
think that might happen. I think localised shutdowns might happen. But things are so uncertain, like things are changing from day to day, like from week to week, everything, you know, 1 minute don't wear a mask, next minute wear a mask, 2 minutes later you can go out in groups, then there's only 6 of you, like it's changing so much, and I think until the government get a definite feel on what they want to do, I don't think... I'm not listening to anything.
Yeah, well, I just think that no to shutdown. I know David's just put that there. Yeah, I think this is right from Emma, don't you? We are the cleanest, let me just get that up, we are the cleanest, most PPE'd sector. I mean, which we are. But look, goggles. I mean, it did come up this week in the government. I'm going to say about it because you said, Jordana, you can't understand why goggles now are acceptable.
Yeah. I mean, how is protecting your eyes better than protecting your nose? I mean, I'm no scientist, but I just don't understand. I've had upper lip sweat for the last 4 months for no reason. Like, I would have worn the goggles from day one if that was the case. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, how long has it got to go for? But would you actually wear goggles? Could you wear goggles over your glass? I know you wouldn't over them glasses, George.
Well, my glasses aren't real anyway. I've got no lenses in my glasses. I just wear them because I look more intelligent. But, yeah, probably would wear goggles over these, Dom. Do you know what I mean?
I do sort of think that. But I think, actually, from a salon point of view, it's just about being mindful about all this. And hopefully, yeah, we can keep it at bay. Is anybody actually wearing goggles? I'd be interested to know. Has people binned the visor, put goggles in? Yes or no? Love to know.
I find it. Can I just say, like, I do want to say this. It might cause a bit of controversy, but you know, when we are doing such intricate colour work, it's very, very hard. And I would never ever complain about wearing a visor and a mask because I'm not a nurse. And I think, you know, you've got nurses on the front line that are doing such a big job. I would never complain, but it's very hard to see what you're doing with both on. Like, it's very hard to try and do intricate correction.
Walking around.
Yeah, 100%. I find it very difficult.
How do you find it from an educational point of view? When you're doing like colour work and you're talking through your mask, how was it for you? Okay, Jordana?
I've never sweat so much in my life, and I think that's more unhygienic than just not sweating and not wearing anything. But we were asked to wear both, but in front of the cameras and with the mic there, and I was so hot wearing a leather apron. I don't know what I was thinking, but it was too hard to connect as well. And I think maybe the numbers for Colour World tickets aren't as high as they should be because you can't really connect with the person that you're educating. You can't see their face.
And I've got an academy coming up in November, and I've got an academy coming up in July, and I'm worried about it because I've never even when I did Colour World, me and you both did Colour World, Jordan, and we were both there. Very difficult. Very difficult to put our point across. Very difficult to explain what we were saying. And it'd be a great situation. You know, it's not a great situation. It's difficult.
Yeah. And it was such a shame to see all the models whose hair you'd been working on, whose faces had been done with makeup, just put one of those masks on. It actually hurt me. I was like, am I supposed to take a picture with the mask on?
Right, well, I've looked down. I asked you about your comments. Are any of you wearing goggles? And there's a lot of love coming in for you tonight, George, I've got to say, with the comments. You know, I mean, absolute legend. Yeah, I tell you, you are. Kelly, she's sticking to the visor. Now, Caroline has gone yes. So she is wearing goggles. So how are you finding it? Are you preferring it? What's the vision like out of some of those? Lynn, no. Ryan, what's Ryan said here? I've tried wearing them and chucked them in the bin after 5 minutes. Okay, be fair to say they didn't work. You then said they kept slipping down my face. Absolute nightmare. Emma, so difficult. Right, Paul has said, no one can hear me. Have to repeat myself several times. No, they're just ignoring you, Paul, honestly. I bought some black mask and it stops the reflection. I just bought a new mask. I bought the U mask. You heard of the U mask? Right, everybody go and check out the U mask. It's what they wear in Formula One. Apparently they have a 225-hour lasting filter. They're about £40, but they're meant to be the most comfortable mask out there. So I hopefully have one coming tomorrow. So has anybody used a U mask? If not, I will display it next week and you'll get some peace of quiet. Kim, takes so long to blow dries. I keep turning it off to talk to a client. I feel like a bloke off saunas with lambs with visor and mask. Yes, I find the goggles easier to see. Not gonna lie, still lift them up for blending a gent's hair or colour mask on though. Yeah, what's this from Caroline? I was teaching today and sweating like a pig. Yeah, it's been a hot one today, hasn't it? So I'm just going to finish it on this one, and I promise it will be the last point of tonight. Refreshments. They now say that we can serve refreshments, but some of us, I think, thought we can. You've been serving refreshments, haven't you, Jordana? Or not?
I've been giving out the odd cup of tea, cup of coffee, but in a disposable paper mug. Oh, George has gone. Bye, George.
Oh, has she gone? She's had enough. Oh, well, we're coming to the end. She might just drop back in again.
Water, tea and coffee in the disposable cups. So I didn't know that we weren't actually allowed to do that.
Right.
But apparently we are now.
Yeah,
so.
I believe so. I believe that we can do that. So I've just seen here, Lee. She's ordered one too. Yeah, the U mask. Yeah, go and check it out. Honestly, there's also another. There's some great visors out there. There's the Halo one. I really think's good. There's the one Pro Styling, really good mask. And I also saw another really cool one on Instagram, because obviously they've done their market research and make sure they go in hairdressers' fees, but it looks really, really cool, but I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, I'm kind of waffling. We've lost George. I reckon her children's pulled out the internet connection from her house because she's just dropped out. So we'll say goodbye to George, and she will be back next week, I'm pretty much sure. Let's just have a look. Last little comments. Lee, yeah, the Baileys is back out. It's when we run out of milk. Lots of laughter. Nope, still serving them. Too much extra time for cleaning. We were saying that actually, Kelly, that it does add to bits. I don't think hairdressers are particularly missing having to do this. We got another comment.
Oh, and it's a good cost saver as well, because when you're not offering it out, so many people don't ask for it, and if they don't ask for it, then I don't give it. I only give it to them when they ask for it, and it saves us so much milk and so much coffee, which is expensive.
Lynn's just asked me, is the U mask type 2? Yeah, go and have a little check out of it, and I'm sure the guys at Hug Stylist can probably source them as well. At Pro Styling, them guys will be on it. I'm coming to work with you if you've got Baileys. That's what she says, Nicola. That's really good. So look, I hope you're all enjoying the kind of new look to the hair show. You know, we have gone very talk heavy. Doesn't mean we're not going to be putting hair into the show. We really are open to having hair, but we do feel this conversation, we notice that people stick with the show right the way through, actually, and I think you'd enjoy the show. So, but it is really important that you give us the topics. We don't just say it's your show for any old reason, because it is your show. You have to drive the conversation. So Jordana, and I'm sure George, where she's gone for a fish and chips, that's what she always does on it.
She's clocked off early.
Yeah, she's clocked off early.
Talk about being obsessed, and she's clocked off early.
Yeah, I'll tell you, she had enough of it. But yeah, please do let us know what you're thinking, and hopefully you are loving the show as much as we are loving you as a community. And please do share this out across Facebook, because it's going to be, we're in this with a long run, seriously are, and it is going to come out of a podcast next Monday. So if you want to hear your name mentioned, you'll hear it in Monday's How to Cut It podcast. So that is it so much. Obviously George is gone. Jordana, what's the week looking like for yourself as we head off?
Weekend's looking good. I'm creating some content for some model agencies who are sending over their favourite colour corrections, because I've got a day free, so they're doing that Wednesday. Apart from that, guys, let us know what you'd like us to talk about next week. It's been incredible seeing some new faces and new names pop up on the screen. So thanks so much for joining us, everyone. And do let us know what you want to see more of, because we can still put some more hair videos in there if you want us to strike the balance between topics of conversation and hair videos. Otherwise, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, well, you take care. Bye-bye, Jordana. Hey, there we go. So I don't know what happened to George. As I say, she does go and get her fish and chips on a Monday after the show. But it really is such a pleasure. So I'm just going to, again, before we sign out, I'm just going to make sure I bring up the comments here, because it's just such a way of showing our support to you all. So let's start here. We've got Charlotte. Could I message? Oh, we don't want that one. You can message her. Loving it. Thanks, guys. Natalie, thank you. Nicola, love the show. Thank you all so much. Well, we love having you here, Nicola. Carolina, I've got to say, we love the look. Carolina, I know you've had to deal with the hair loss, but you are rocking that look. We love the show. Well, we love you big time. Message Lynn, it's great and relevant. Love the show. Well, that's what this is all about. It's about that relevance. Ryan, this makes my Monday night. It makes our Monday night. I tell you what, we all so look forward to this. Lynette, I love Lynette. I love listening to everyone's opinions. Charlotte, I'm offering water in disposable cups. Cherie, thanks guys, great chat. Thank you, Cherie. Kelly, thanks guys. Emma, loved it. So much food for thought. Great, that's what it's all about. Diane, loved the mindful section with Jordana. Loving it all. Thank you. The hair coach, great show. Hope to speak to you soon. Absolutely, we'll be looking forward to that. Diane, thank you guys. Charlotte, fab show again, guys. Pivot point, thank you guys. Stay safe, everyone. Sending lots of love to you all. Yeah, wicked cracking chat. Yeah, Lee, you're cracking. Lee, always a pleasure to have you free. Big love to you, buddy. Yeah, really good stuff. Great chat, Saffron. Great, that's it. My podcast is out this week. I'm going to just flag that up. If you haven't tuned into this, you need to have a tune into it, because I'm talking to one of the world's greatest hair educators, Mark Hayes, the story of this bloke. And I have to be honest, I didn't know too much about Mark, the personality he was. I always thought he was quite a serious guy. He has got incredible humour. Absolutely love this podcast. Go and check it out. Love to hear your comments. And this show tonight is going to be Monday's podcast, How to Cut It. Make sure you all tune into it. Make sure that you keep tuning in and being part of this show. It's something we all absolutely love to bring to you. So that's it. Have a wonderful night. Peace, love and smiles all the way. Goodbye.